You know, we're always told that success is all about fixing our weaknesses, right? But what if that whole idea is actually holding you back? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a totally different idea. What if the real key to unlocking your potential is to build a strategy based entirely on what you're already good at?
I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? You see it on social media, you see it lining the shelves in bookstores. This constant nagging message to find your flaws and just, grind away at them. It's become the default setting for how we think about self-improvement.
And that forces us to ask a really big question. What if focusing on our weaknesses isn't just, a waste of time? What if it's the very thing that's preventing us from finding real, authentic success?
See, all this pressure to fix ourselves, it creates what you could call the self-help trap. And it's this sneaky but really powerful cycle that a lot of us get stuck in, sometimes without even knowing it.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Most of those self-help books, they're basically just telling the story of how someone else used their own unique strengths to win. The advice isn't bad, it worked like a charm. For them. The trouble starts when we try to just copy and paste their playbook into our own lives.
And this sets up two totally different ways to play the game of life. On one hand, you can play their game. You're following their rules, their steps, but you're not getting the results. And that little voice of self-doubt just gets louder and louder. But then there's your game. This is where you use your own strengths, where your actions actually line up with who you are. And suddenly progress feels, it feels real. It's authentic.
And this whole idea of a mismatch, wow, it's captured so perfectly in this one personal story. It's a great metaphor, really. Think of it as a fish trying to fly.
Okay, so the author of our source material gets inspired by a book and sets this huge goal for himself. He decides he's going to hitchhike 100 times to get better at networking. Now, on paper, that sounds pretty bold, right? A great plan for growth. But here's the catch. He was a natural introvert. He wasn't the kind of person who gets energy from starting conversations with total strangers.
So after all that effort, you'd think he'd be a master networker, right? Nope. The outcome was the exact opposite of what he wanted. The whole project didn't build his confidence, it completely shattered it. Every single ride just became another painful reminder, another piece of evidence in his mind that, see, you're terrible at this. It was just reinforcing failure, not growth.
He summed it up so perfectly himself. He said he was flapping his fins in the air, just wondering why he couldn't fly, never realizing that he wasn't built to fly in the first place. It was never about not trying hard enough, it was about using the completely wrong strategy for who he was.
Okay, so if trying to copy other people is a trap, what's the way out? Well, the solution is to stop reading someone else's book and start writing your own. It's time to create your own playbook. The real key here isn't hidden in some best-selling book or a viral video. It's found by looking inward. It's about getting real with yourself, understanding your own unique wiring, and then, and only then, designing a strategy that fits you like a glove.
So how do you actually build this personal playbook? Well, it boils down to 4 basic steps. First, you got to know your strengths. What are you naturally good at? Second, you have to actually embrace those talents, not apologize for them. Third, you design how you work around them. And finally, you make sure your daily actions line up with those strengths. That way, you're always swimming with the current, not fighting against it.
And once you start doing this, you begin to unlock what our source calls your authentic success formula. And believe me, this is where everything starts to change.
Let's go back to those 2 games we talked about, because the difference is just night and day. Playing their game feels like you've set life to nightmare mode. It's draining, it's exhausting, it just fills you with doubt. But playing your game, that's where you feel energized, you feel confident. It's like you're suddenly playing on a field where you already know all the rules and you know exactly how to win.
And really, this is the fundamental shift in thinking. It's this incredibly freeing idea to just stop trying to fix what you think is wrong with you, and instead start building a life, a career, a whole set of goals that celebrates everything that's already right with you.
So that leaves us with one final question, and this one's for you. If you had to write your own personal instruction manual, one that was built completely around your unique strengths, what would that first chapter be called? What game are you truly designed to win?